Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another week. Welcome to Monday at Namaste Village. As always, I am thrilled to be able to join with such mighty companions here for a single purpose: to know who you are, as opposed to pretending you know, which is what we usually do. I think I know who I am, based on everything I think I see out here, until I finally realize I'm seeing nothing out here. The only place I can be seen is when I look within, not within my body, not within even my mind, but just within the within. Within the within. There's something there. That's where I find what has always been found, what could never be not found, what could never really be lost, except in my mind, except in my imagination. And we have good imaginations, and that's something we were given, and we have used in various and sundry ways. But now we come to join, we see and feel and recognize the companions that were given to us to remind us, to remember, to enter that within, the within. And to realize that that light and that peace and that grace is shining every moment. Once again, today is one of those days here at Namaste Village that we often get during the rainy season, where the clouds are covering the land. It's a little bit dim, a little bit cool, but we know that the sun is always shining. The sun is always shining on the other side of that clouds, and all we need to do is be patient and know that the sun will emerge, and so will the sun within us if we are patient, if we just allow our minds to rest. We realize that the peace of God is always shining in me. So I was surprised today when I went to the Daily Word and I saw that the title is "The Peace of God is in My Mind and Heart." What does that sound like to you? Oh, kind of like one of our favorite songs, doesn't it? So we are going to sing this and share this with the tune of Lesson 188 from A Course in Miracles, "The Peace of God is Shining in Me Now." And we'll just adjust these words ever so slightly so it matches the daily word. So let me go ahead and I'll put you on screen share. All right, here we go. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. We're not just going to sing these words, we're going to recognize them within the within. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. Sing that with me. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. Okay, really let me have it. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. Excuse me. The peace Would you wait for heaven when you were merely covering your eyes? It is there if you would, but open now and realize you're here at home. Just realize you could never be alone. Okay, here we go again. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God cannot be lost. It's the only thing you brought from your home. It's shining so bright, and it whispers so soft. You are not alone, not alone. You never really left your home. Once more, very quietly. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. In my mind and heart. The peace of God. Inner peace. The peace of God is in my mind and heart. Whenever I feel unsettled about the changes happening in the outside world, I remember I have the power to determine my response. After all, if I can decide to be upset, with a little practice, I can decide not to be. Inner peace is the key to outer peace. I begin by settling my mind and softening my heart, finding peace within myself. I discover it was there all along, perhaps obscured for a little bit by the din and clamor of the outside world. I focus my thoughts on peace and affirm quietly to myself, the news of the world has no power over me. When you're watching CNN or whatever channel you watch, say that one. The news of the world has no power over me. I align my heart and mind with God and claim deep, lasting peace. I repeat this throughout the day to stay peaceful. When I choose peace, peace fills my mind and heart and lights my life. Seek peace and pursue it. From the book of Psalms. The peace of God is in my mind and my heart. No matter what you think, no matter what you think, no matter what you believe, no matter what you were told, no matter what, the peace of God is in your mind and in your heart. Now, for some of us, that may seem like an impossible thing to believe. It's impossible to think that the peace of God is in my mind and heart when I have such conflict always rolling through my brain, or my life is moving in directions I never thought were possible. How could the peace of God really be in my mind and my heart? And the key to this is to realize that no matter how impossible or unlikely that seems to you, that's the truth. And you begin there. We begin by just considering that possibility, being willing to consider that this is true. And then slowly it will seem less and less impossible and more likely. Then finally completely true. That no matter what, even when I'm going through whatever I'm going through, just like when the clouds seem to be between me and the sun blocking, still the light comes through. Still the light of God is in my heart and in my mind. We just have to trust that. But it begins by realizing that even though it seems impossible or unlikely, it's still true. So we're going to talk a little bit today about these seeming impossibilities. The first way that we're going to do that is I'm going to share a song and a video that some of you may have seen already because I sent it out in an email last night because I was excited about it. I wrote this song and I recorded it, made a video all in just a matter of 2 or 3 hours, and I was really happy because I thought I had done something that was kind of impossible, which was to write a song in Spanish and sing it in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, so that was a trick. And in fact, I get overwhelmed by the idea that I would have to do something in Spanish. This all began yesterday when I was at the Anglican service, and we pray the Lord's Prayer in Spanish at St. Andrew's, and every time I'm reading it and I'm just like I'm mumbling because I can't say the words, and I'm trying to look around, make sure Jonathan, who's next to me, who does speak Spanish, doesn't hear me because I don't want anyone to know that I can't do this. So I came home and I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something that may seem slightly impossible, which is to take the Lord's Prayer in Spanish, put it to music, sing it. Actually, I got an A- from Marissa. She said, apparently there was one part where I said, lead us not into the sea, or something instead of in whatever, close enough. But it was so freeing for me to do something that felt impossible, just like it's impossible for us usually to consider that the peace of God is in my mind and heart, no matter what. So this is going to be a demonstration of what we can do when we just say, okay, I'm going to lay aside all of my thoughts and ideas of whether this is possible or impossible, whether this is going to be good or bad or wonderful or terrible, and just do it. And I'm going to be challenging all of you in a similar way here in a bit. But first I want to show this, and we're going to talk about the impossibility of the Lord's Prayer. So let me put this on the screen. Okay, so this is the Lord's Prayer in Spanish. There you have it. The impossible has been achieved. Brother James Francis sang a song in Spanish. I can let that one go now. I can do it. So what can we do? And maybe better still, what can God do through us? Now, I was thinking about the Lord's Prayer as I was considering that question. And going back to this idea of achieving the impossible, I want to look at the Lord's Prayer, Padre Nuestro, in a new way. And I'll begin by sharing one part of it, the way that I pray it. Because I don't usually pray it in the traditional way. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. That's fine, but I have a slightly different way. I want to bring it into the moment, into this present moment, as if it's already been accomplished, knowing that it's already true. So the beginning for me is, Father in heaven, or beloved in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom has come. Your will is being done, here as it is in heaven. You give us today all that we need. As we forgive, How many times have I prayed the Our Father in my life? 10,000 times. Forgive us everything as we forgive everyone. So there are 2 or 3 parts to that I want to focus on. Let's begin with, Father in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom has come. Your will is being done. Now, from the usual split mind, what we see or what we think we see is that God's will is not being done, that God's kingdom has not been established, that reality is not completely held within that experience of love and light and holiness and grace. And we're asking for that to happen. But what happens if we affirm that it is already true? Your kingdom is done. Your kingdom has come. Your will is being done, here as it is in heaven. In other words, open my eyes that I may see that. Let me see where your will is being done. This is fundamental. We want to believe that it's not happening. All the while God is saying, open your eyes. It's like the song that we sang and the one part from Lesson 188 from A Course in Miracles that I sang in the verse. Why would you wait for heaven? You're merely covering your eyes. Just open your eyes and see that God's kingdom is being done right now. All I need to do is to choose to receive that. And how will I receive that? By recognizing that, okay, I have to do it again in my mind. It's kind of like a song. I can't remember the words to a song unless I'm singing them. So, Father in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom has come. Your will is being done here as it is in heaven. Give us today all that we need. And forgive us everything as we forgive everyone. We cannot realize that we have been forgiven everything until what? We forgive everyone. That's the beauty of bringing that prayer into the present moment. As I forgive everyone, no matter what, I recognize that the same is true for me because I'm only forgiving myself. So when we bring the Lord's Prayer into the present moment, rather than saying things are so screwed up out here, please make it better like it is in heaven. Instead, choose to recognize where the grace of God is present, holy, fully, completely, uncompromised. Look there and begin by realizing that I have been forgiven everything already because I am choosing in this moment to forgive everyone, no matter what. So it's very simple. All we need to do is do it. So, since the doing is usually best explained by our dear sister, Vicky, I'm going to turn it over to her now and let her take it from here. Good morning, Vicky.
Well, good morning, Brother James, and good morning, everybody. So nice to see you. And I love this. And did you know that also today's workbook lesson in the course is there is no peace except the peace of God. So it's a triple play. There's peace on every front. And it's just like you said, there's no time Jesus speaks to us in the course, in 2,000 years ago in the Our Father, or any time where it isn't forgive, forgive, forgive. And it has taken us all these years to figure out what in the world does it mean to really forgive. And it really comes down to something very simple, because it comes down to what you were saying right now. Right now, right now, I am the living Christ. Right now, I will hold my attention there. And that means forgiving all the thoughts of discomfort or judgment or upset or good or bad. It's letting them all go and paying them no mind. We're not with our living mind, but only paying mind to the Christ of our being that is joined with our Creator. And last week, if you remember, Alice made a wonderful comment that radiated right throughout, I think throughout the whole session, because what she said was, when we this last week, that I am the Christ.
Uh-oh. Right, Vicky.
That was our last
Hey,
game.
hey, Vicky, back
Yeah.
up, because right when you got to the part where you said, "This is what she said," we lost you. So say it
Okay.
one more time.
All right. So what Alice said was, and this was really so stunning. She said, when we do that, we are restored to our Father's will. Our Father, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. When I am remembering and not engaging, not paying attention to all the thoughts of time or space or bodies or politics or anything, but simply paying attention to the presence that I am, whatever we call it, the Christ, the Tao, the Buddha, who cares? When I'm paying attention to that holy presence, thy will is being done now on earth as it is in heaven, because I am restored again to one will that I am as God created me. I remain that way, and I can celebrate it. It's in my awareness. It's in my experience. That's why this is all about experience. And forgiveness is nothing more than pay it no mind. Don't worry about all that stuff. None of it's so. Just pay attention to what is so. That the divinity, the holiness, that is the within. It's that space of knowing. That's the space of peace. Peace is a knowingness of unity. And the unity is with our Creator. And then it unfolds as with one another. The open door that we all walk through is through every relationship we find ourselves in. That's the open door of holiness on earth as it is in heaven. That's why it's about the present joining, first within ourselves of who we are, and paying no energy attention to the false. And then the openness, the open-heartedness to one another. Amen, James. There you go. You steady.
Morning, Teddy.
Morning. Well, you want to know what's really impossible? To think there's a place outside of heaven called the world. That's really impossible. So everything within it is also impossible. But when you first started, what's interesting is, in A Course of Love, what it really starts out saying is, and now that you know the peace of God is in your mind, now you can learn how it feels in your heart. But of course, Jesus in the Course of Miracles says you are mind, in mind, and only mind. So there's no separation between mind and heart. There's just a totality of you, and nothing else. So when you learn the peace of God is in you, shining in your mind, you understand that you are that peace, and you are what's shining in God's mind as the peace of God. So it's just interesting that unity says it the way it does. And of course, in love sort of agrees with unity in that matter. You learn how, now you can learn how it feels to have the peace of God in your heart. And the other thing I want to say is this, I used to ask the same question. Yeah, I was going to say, Jimmy, you went to a Jesuit school, so you probably had to say the Lord's Prayer in Latin.
Oh. Teddy, we're losing you. If you're still there, if you can hear us, you've frozen.
Oh no.
Okay,
Can
you're
you
coming.
hear us? Go ahead.
Okay, you're back. You're back.
Oh, I don't know where I got frozen, but I was just saying that having gone to Jesuit schools, I had to say the Our Father in Latin rather than Spanish. So I don't know. It's just sort of interesting. And I used to ask Jesus about the Lord's Prayer too. And what he told me is when it says, "Thy will be done." What he's saying is, "Thy will is already done." It doesn't have to be. It's not being done in the future. It's already been done. So that's what the word "be" means, as far as he's concerned. But it is. We want to know that God's will is being done through us, and it can extend into the world. But the world, as of course says, it's never going to be a place of peace because it's never going to be real. But we can experience the peace of God within us, and then begin to see our brothers in that same peace, no matter what's going on, and to know them as true to who they are as created by God, and one with us in the brotherhood of man and mankind that God created us to be part of.
Yes. Going back to the prayer as we prayed it a short while ago, it's exactly what you were both saying. Father in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom has come. Your will is being done here, and here's the key, here as it is in heaven. In other words, there is only heaven. The world that I think I see where God's will is not being done, where God's will needs to be done someday at some point, that's what we are now just allowing to dissolve. We don't need to reject, we just need to realize that God's will is being done here as it is in heaven, every moment, no matter what. And once again, that seems to be the impossibility, but this is the reality. We move from impossibility to reality itself. So, this is what we're going to do. I want to challenge all of you to find some way today, even if it's something very small, that you can do just that you can challenge what seemed to be the impossibility of your mind, of your belief system, of anything, and do something different. Make a new choice, kind of like what I did last night when I thought, I can't speak Spanish, I can't sing in Spanish, but I said, okay, it doesn't matter, I'm going to do it anyway. And I went ahead and put it to music in the space of a half hour, was able to learn how to sing it very quickly, put it to music, make a video, all in the course of like 2.5 hours. That may seem impossible, even for me, but through grace, anything is possible. So I want to challenge all of you to find some way today that you can challenge what seems impossible in your mind so that you can realize that God's will is being done just as it is in heaven, because this is heaven. Why would you wait for heaven? You're merely covering your eyes. It's time to open our eyes. It's time to take our hand away so we can finally see what has always been beheld by God through my mind and through the mind of each one of us. How does that sound? Everybody feel good with trying to find one thing, even if it's something simple, to challenge a belief that you thought, I can't do that, that's impossible. Maybe it's just forgiving someone. Maybe there's someone in your mind that you've been holding on to a thought of attack. And it's impossible to forgive this person because of what they did. Maybe today is the day to challenge that and to just very simply just allow that flood of light to enter your heart and to forgive them as you are forgiven. And in doing so, to realize that you are forgiven. Or maybe it's some little physical thing that you didn't think you could do. Walk around the block. Well, do it. You can do it. Find some little thing that you can do today and turn that over to the beloved in gratitude, knowing that all things are possible when your mind is wholly aligned with the whole mind that is in you now. So that's your challenge for the day. Maybe tomorrow we can hear from a few of you and how you lived into that challenge. But I'm so grateful, as always, to have all of you here. Vicky, Teddy, where are you guys going, by the way? You're not usually in motion. You're usually just sitting in the car. But
Well, we're with both Mary Beth and Katya. There's Mary Beth.
oh, hello.
There's
Good to see
Katya.
you both.
And we're going to go visit someone you don't know, Karen Bentley. We did Miracles Alliance with many years ago, and John Nagy. So, it's the joy of joining again. So we're on our way to New Hampshire to visit Karen, and then on the way back to see John Nagy.
Oh, please give John my love.
Yes, we will. These are all guys that have lived the Course in Miracles their whole lives, written books about it and all that. So it's really a joy to be together.
Yes, indeed. Well, have a beautiful trip. Thank you so much for spreading the light